Hey, Russ here. Welcome back to my shop. I'm going to talk about tips and tricks about splinters. I deal with splinters constantly, all day long, every day. Some days I'll get half a dozen splinters through the day. And I want to show you how I use the tried and true method to deal with splinters. I have found this to work very well without any real hassle. Rule number one. Never talk about splint. No, that's Fight Club. Never mind. Rule number one. You have to do it immediately. As soon as you realize you have the splinter, stop what you're doing. Don't move your hand. If it's in your hand or your finger, don't move that area. Hold it perfectly still. And I have a designated area that I go to deal with my splinters. I always do it with the same tool. I have this pair of tweezers that has the magnifying glass on it that pivots. It makes it really easy to look through and get this point and see exactly where I'm at. So this is my tool of choice to do it. The other thing you have to do is determine the angle of penetration. Now, when I was a little boy and I'd get a splinter in my finger and I'd go running into the house, Mommy, I got a splinter. And she'd take me into the kitchen. She'd get a pair of tweezers. Pliers, yeah, right. Get a pair of tweezers, get a flashlight, and a magnifying glass. Sometimes I had to hold the flashlight, and she'd sit there with those tweezers and that magnifying glass. She'd get in there, and first thing she'd do is sometimes once she saw it, first thing she'd do is go looking for it. Once she found it, what she would do is she would take her finger and she'd start rubbing it in different directions over the top of where that splinter is. And when it hurt, I would tell her. And believe me, you won't have any doubt about which direction you go, and you can feel it hurt because that's the direction that it went in then. So if it hurts when you're dragging your finger this way instead of this way, it hurts more this way, that means that splinter is going in from this direction. That's what that's telling you. And so, because you're trying to push it in deeper, and that's what you're feeling. So now that you know the direction, you're ready to pull it out. So how do you pull it out? Light is your friend. I have this light here to help me for doing detail work somewhere in this area of my workbench. Either on top of my mini bench or even on my regular bench. I get some really good light from this right here. And so that's why I have it here. So this is where I come. Second, you want to get ready to do this. Okay? Make sure you have your safety goggles and your earmuffs. You are working with a piece of equipment. So anyway, you want to make sure that clean the tip with a little, I usually just clean it with a little sanitary wipe type thing. And then I take, knowing now I'm ready to figure out the angle of that penetration. I take my tweezers. Sometimes I can take my finger, like my mom did, and rub my finger over it and know the direction pretty quick. And sometimes you can even feel it as you drag your finger over it. Sometimes it's in there and it's such a small splinter, you know it's there, but you can't even see it. And that's no big deal. That's what the magnifying glass is for. So now I go in there with just the tip and I start looking for exactly where that splinter is, not looking through the magnifying glass. I just take my tip and I start rubbing it over the top. And when I rub it the right direction in the right place, right over the top of it, I'll know pretty quick where it is. And I find out where that is. Then I take and I look through my magnifying glass to see it. Now I already know what direction I'm going to pull that out from rubbing it across there. And now that I know the direction, and I know exactly where the tip is, I can sit here and bring it into sight down the magnifying glass to between the tweezers, get a hold of it, and pull it straight out the opposite way if it went in. Very important. Once you figure that out and you pull it that direction, I'll guarantee you that 99 times out of 100, it'll come right out. As long as you get a good grip on it and pull it straight that direction. So pay attention where the direction is, and you got it. That's all there is to it. It's not that hard. When you get done, wipe everything down, clean it up, clean these off, put them back in the drawer so you got them for next time, and go back to work. Honestly, this whole process takes me less than a minute. I stop whatever I'm doing, I take a minute to walk over, and I start figuring out where that is, figuring out how it went in, grab my tweezers, and I pull it out. And I go back to work. Turn my light off, put them away, and I'm done. Anyway, I've heard so many different ways of how you do this on the internet. My favorite, quite honestly, was the guy that says, put a raisin right on it and put a Band-Aid around it for 24 hours and hold that raisin under your Band-Aid. I love that. If nothing else, maybe then you can get the dog to lick it off and lick it out, or your cat. But there's a lot of different ways of doing it. I know that. I do it this way because I get splinters constantly all day. And quite frankly, this has worked for me. As long as I do it immediately so it doesn't get pushed in further, it really will make a difference. And figure out the angle, and you got it. 99% of the time, you will get it out without any hassle and go right back to work. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you have any thoughts about this or want to tell me how you do it, love to hear it. And so would the other readers. They would love to see how somebody else does it too, not just my way. So don't be afraid to share your idea with us. If you like this video, say so. Most importantly, come back again, because there's going to be lots more. And probably even more in-depth stuff than this. You have a terrific day.